Hi, it's Morag Gamble from our Permaculture Live in the Permaculture Education Institute, and welcome back into my garden for another Live at 5. Now, today I wanted to share something about one of the plants that's an indigenous plant to this part of the world, which is native ginger. So native ginger is a fantastic plant to have growing in and around maybe some of the natural areas of your garden, if you've got a bush tucker area, or just even sort of an area that you've got lots of the local indigenous native plants growing. And also, it's great in a food forest. It's kind of one of those mid-story plants that fills up a space, creates habitat, provides kind of wind protection and micro niche environments that help you to cultivate other plants too. And because it's got such an enormous amount of foliage, it's a really great source of growing your own chop and drop mulch. So, once it gets a little bit big, we just chop it back and let it fall here or, underneath another one of the fruit trees that's just around. But not only is it good for those sort of environmental reasons of creating an environment within your food forest, or that it's an indigenous plant, so it's actually growing things that belong in this landscape here in southeast Queensland. And so, I encourage you to find out what are the plants that are indigenous to your landscape and to your local habitat, which provide your local environment, which provide habitat for the local species too. But it's also edible. So it's a native ginger. And so it has kind of a ginger flavoured root. It's not like the ginger you buy in the shops, those really big swollen ones. It's the same kind of look, but it's far more like fibrous. So instead of sort of slicing it up like you do normal ginger, you kind of just bruise the piece of ginger root and infuse it in the cooking. And you still get the same kind of flavour, even if it's a little bit more mild. So it's really lovely like that. The very fresh young roots, you can slice them up and use them as you would. But it's not just the roots either, it's the leaves. So these leaves have a really lovely aroma and can be added into cooking. Some of the bigger, older ones you would use probably more like you would a bay leaf, for example. You put it in and it just steeps in with the cooking and it flavours it. Whereas the very young shoots and the leaves, you can chop up finely and cook really well. Or if you have like a really large leaf, you can use that to wrap cooking and to steam things wrapped up in these leaves, and then that adds a beautiful flavour to it as well. And so in order to get a piece of this growing, all you need is to dig off a little bit of a side of the root section, or if you've got the energy, divide up a big plant like this and then just spread it around. And it's really, really very easy to do. So it's growing all year round. I've got it growing this is in my food forest, but I also have it growing around the edges of my garden too, in sort of some of the native areas and in quite shaded locations. And then it also does have at different times of year little edible berries on it too. So apart from all that, it's just a really lovely landscape plant to have in as a backdrop to other plants with the luscious leaves. It gives kind of like that tropical feel in a garden. So many uses, edible and environmental and landscape to have in your garden, and also medicinal. I haven't even talked about the medicinal values. But so this native ginger is a wonderful plant to consider including, but also to consider adding into the meals that you cook on a daily basis. So thanks for joining me again on this Live at 5. Come again tomorrow and we'll talk about another plant. And again, I've got lots of materials down below that you can have a look at in terms of how to get your permaculture garden happening and what is permaculture and how do you weave it into your life and your livelihood too. So we'll catch you again tomorrow. Stay safe. Take care. Bye.